Certified G.
That's me.
And a bona fide stud.
That's Jeff.
And you can't teach that.
Give me something good, give me something good, give me something good.
Oh, Daddy-O, Realest Guys on the Radio, how you doing?
I'm Shane here with Jeff. We're the Realest Guys on the Radio. How you doing?
How you doing? Today we're going to talk about Black Mirror.
We are. Black Mirror, in case you folks don't know about it, is a British series, which of course means that there are shorter seasons. And there so far have been 2 seasons plus 1 holiday special. And we're going to talk about season 1 today, starting off with the national anthem.
Yeah, and I mean the national anthem was, to me, disturbing, I guess you could say. One thing I do want to point out before we get into this too, we haven't really explained this. We're the Realest Guys on the Radio. A lot of that is because we are big time fans of Enzo and Cass from NXT. I'm not Italian. I'm not from New York, but I feel the How You Doing is kind of an homage to those guys, because I think those guys are the new age outlaws. I think these two are guys that could become 8-time WWE champions without even blinking twice, and I think
it's also an homage to Joey from Friends.
Well, yeah, I mean that, yeah. Anyway, Black Mirror. Just one thing I want to say about this before we get too much into things. I really love British television. I don't know what it is that they do so differently in Britain, but you look at the TV they've done. Life on Mars is a show that I really want to get you to watch. I also want, the original Office with Ricky Gervais was phenomenal. Doctor Who, I can't think of it now, but there's a spin-off of Doctor Who that was Deadwood. These are great shows.
No.
Mirror.
Deadwood was a Western on HBO. Torchwood was the spin-off of Doctor Who. I'm not even the Doctor Who guy on this show, and I know that.
I think I need to put down the Bud Light. Just saying. No, Torchwood, great show. British television to me has been phenomenal. Every show I've ever watched, I've liked. Black Mirror is no exception. I think what they've done with Black Mirror has been fantastic. Yeah,
and Black Mirror actually is kind of a take on a Twilight Zone or Outer Limits type show, except for it's focusing more on what if technology was allowed to run amok or was used in kind of a negative way to, I don't know, to change society.
I think you could maybe say that about the second and third episode of season 1, but definitely not the first. Oh no,
the first episode could not have existed without YouTube. Could not have existed without social media. Could not have existed without, television broadcasts, that kind of thing.
Could not have existed without our sick, depressed, depraved, horrible nature that we are in this, not only this country,
well, right,
but
but I mean, if you think about it, if YouTube didn't exist and that video could not have been posted on YouTube, the British Parliament and the Prime Minister could have just pretended that they never got that video, and public sentiment wouldn't have swung the Prime Minister to fuck a pig.
I'm glad you said it, because I was trying to figure out how we were going to work that in. It's you just look at this and the whole episode. I mean, I had my qualms about it, whether it was disturbing or not. I guess I don't know, but it just shows how sick a society really is. Because if you think about it, if that was something that would happen now. I mean, we're not talking about future. We're not talking about technology running amok. This is something that if it were to happen in 2015, I guarantee my TV would be turned on to see what happened.
Yeah, and I think you would end up looking like the people that actually watched them. If you watching this maybe we should, I'm not sure if we should. Yeah, I guess I've already mentioned the fucking of the pig, so I guess I might as well just talk about what happened. A princess gets kidnapped, and the demand from the kidnapper is that the prime minister go on national, not only national television, but actually live international television, and have sex with a pig. Um, and so basically, he ends up doing that because public sentiment turns against him. Um, because it's put out on YouTube, and um, everybody sees the video around the same time that the prime minister's advisors and staff sees the video, and by the time the prime minister sees it, of course, it's well known, and the whole country and then soon the whole world knows about it. So he finds out that he has no choice basically to go through with screwing this pig on international television, and that's why I say that it couldn't really have existed without our current technology, because they could have easily brushed it under the rug and swept under the rug. And I can't remember what you had said that led me to that reaction, so I apologize, Jeff, but I think I was going somewhere and I can't remember where it was. How's that for being real?
Well, the one thing that I kept thinking about is during the last 15 minutes of this show was I really wish I knew what he was thinking about during that time that he was having well, he was fucking a pig. We're on the internet, who cares? We're not guided by FCC here. So
He was porking a porcine.
Fucking while he was porking a porcine, I want to know what he was thinking about, because whatever it was, that man lasted forever, and my wife would be very grateful if I were to to figure out what that was. When I watched this, I got a little squeamish. I was trying to figure out what the fuck have you got me into, Shane. I don't know that I want to watch more of this.
Well, I did not intentionally get you into pig fucking.
Well, the one thing that after I let it settle, I thought about is we never found out why this happened. We never found out why this guy claimed to kidnap the princess. I mean, he did. And made the prime minister do this. There was no explanation. It was just, and that's part of the reason why I love British television, is they're just like, yep, here it is, there you go.
Well, the explanation was that he was an artist, and he thought this was like the ultimate performance art. And I think it was a great irony that he actually had released the princess like 3 or 4 hours before the prime minister was scheduled to go do this act. So by the time that he was I think coming inside the pig, they'd already found the princess.
How many times do you think he threw up after he found that out?
Oh, they didn't tell him. They said he must never find out.
Oh no, he found out. It's the world of the YouTube. Somebody knew. Somebody saw it. Somebody had it. How many times do you think he scrubbed himself after that was done?
I don't know. You actually told me that you were disturbed by it, and I kind of said, I probably should have been, but I wasn't. I think I have just too many sociopathic tendencies involved in my head to be disturbed by it.
I think the main reason I was disturbed is because I have children. And I know you do too, but I had a 4-year-old.
Well, yeah, you have young children right now. My children are grown. So if they want to fuck a pig, I wouldn't be my first choice for them, but I guess that's up to them.
Oh, believe me, in 15 years when my kids are grown up and gone, we'll probably watch this together and laugh hysterically.
It really is. It really is darkly comic, isn't it?
And it was one of those where I'm watching it going, what have you gotten me into? How is this going to be something that I'm going to like? And and then granted, I got into episode number 2. And episode number 2, I really liked it. To be honest with you, I thought episode 1 was a little sketchy. it was a little like, I don't know. Episode 2
Well,
got me hooked.
episode,
And after I
what I'm
saw
wanting you,
episode
I
2,
just want to say, I can understand why you say it's sketchy, because you think that you would think about that and wonder, if that was the pilot episode, how did that show ever get made?
exactly. It's like, how do you go to an exec say, hey, no, sit here, listen, you got to listen to this pitch. He's gonna fuck a pig. And then we're gonna go somewhere after that. But right now he's gonna fuck a pig. How do you do that? How do you sit there straight-faced and tell a TV exec this is where we're going? It just, the only thing I can think is that they sold them on the second and third episodes, and we're just like, hey, let's sneak this one in under the radar.
Possibly. So what happens in the second episode is basically, it almost looks like, starting off, that it's like kind of like a prison situation, but really what it turns out on is basically we're at a point in the future where there is no like fossil fuels and that kind of thing to power the world and like devices. So instead, people exercise bikes in order to power their surroundings.
Okay, I may need to go back and watch that because I did not get that out of that episode. In fact, that was one of my questions I wrote down here. What the hell are the bikes for? They never explained it. They never said, anything. And maybe that's a conclusion you drew, or maybe I missed
I drew
something.
that conclusion from it. And I don't think there's any spoken words in there until like 10 minutes into it. Because we just kind of follow the main character around his life, and we kind of watch what he's doing, and they're all sitting there pedaling bikes, and I think that's where eventually got the realization that that's how the society is now being peddled society is now being powered is by peddling. Human power, basically.
And maybe that's what I missed, and that does make sense now when you think about it, considering they're earning money doing it. The one thing about this episode, I thought this episode was great. I loved it from the start. I loved the way that they made life out to be about how there's different classes where you've got the janitors, then you've got the peddlers, then you have the superstars who go on to become a better living. And I just thought from the start this episode was intriguing. I spent the first 10 minutes of the episode going, what the hell's going on?
Apparently so
Why
did know
are
after watching it till like 2 minutes ago.
Well, they wow.
Anyway, go ahead.
They're pedaling bikes, and the whole thing that they're doing while they're pedaling these bikes is they're looking to build credits. And these credits then can be spent on certain things. You lay in your bed at night and your whole room, and I was thinking about this. How cool would that be to wake up to your entire room lighting up and there being this scenic picture of a farm and a rooster crowing? It was one of those things where I'm watching, it's like, wow, this is where technology is going. We're eventually going to have this in my bedroom. And it was like, you're watching this and they're pedaling bikes to earn credits. They take these credits and they spend the credits on toothpaste or on whatever their daily needs are, food. And if they're watching TV, it goes to pay their TV bills and everything. And I thought it was entertaining to see this guy, this main character, who was really, really kind of downtrodden. And you don't find out till about halfway through why he's downtrodden. But he had another female rider who was hitting on him, and he didn't really notice her. He had this really obnoxious guy next to him, and he didn't really notice him. But then there was this one woman who walks into his life, who becomes a new rider, who he fancied with. And now I'm using a British term, fancied. But he's enamored with this woman, and he's willing to do whatever he can for this woman. And that's what leads us to what actually is going on in this show, is that the whole goal is to become the next class up. And that next class up, they become that by auditioning on a TV show. And you need 15 million credits to become to buy a ticket for this show. He had been inherited that 15 million. So in turn he said, "You know what? I think you're talented. I'm going to give you that 15 million." And then all hell breaks loose and it becomes I don't want to say a pig fucking episode, but it takes a slight turn from
It's
that
a mind
point.
fucking episode, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think the whole point of the episode basically is that regardless of what happens in the future, I mean, whatever kind of dystopian society we end up having, if we do end up having one, you could end up with something like Mad Max, where which I just saw last week and I thought was pretty darn good movie. The new Mad Max Fury Road. Just go off topic slightly.
Nothing beats the Mel
Well,
Gibson
obviously,
version.
but still. And we can have that kind of dystopian society where everybody's kind of fighting over water and battling out, or you could, but there's still kind of a ruling class because they control the water, or you could have something like this where the ruling class, they have their money, they have their houses, they have their luxuries, but the working class is held down and made to power the rest of the world because the people with the money say so. And the only way to get out is to become one of those people with the money, and basically you have ways to do that. You can either entertain people or you can entertain people.
We talk about fucking pigs, but then we get to the pornography part, and it's like, ooh, we should tread lightly
I just wanted
on
to I just
that.
wanted to make that I just wanted to make that kind of allusion to what entertainment meant. I really
Okay,
yeah
is that
yeah.
what it was? Well, he fancies this, and there I go with my British talking again. He fancies this girl, and he buys her a
This
ticket so
well,
that
if you
she
want to
can
get your
perform.
British on, you should be saying this chap fancies this bird.
I don't even know what to say to that. But he
Righto.
ends up buying her a ticket. He ends up buying her a ticket because he hears her sing and he thinks she's wonderful. So he buys her this ticket to perform on a television show, which is kind of like a Star Search or a X Factor or an American Idol. Well, I don't want to say American Idol. I think I'd go more towards America's Got Talent, because it's not so much about singing, even though that's what he bought the ticket for, which turns out to be a rather large mistake on his part, because they loved her. They thought she was a fantastic singer, but they had already given the title to a singer the year before, so they had no room for her. So instead, they offer her a job on the porn channel. Which I don't even know where to go from there.
Well, obviously you click on the porn button. Duh.
Multiple times over
Yeah.
and
Well,
over again.
I didn't really find her to be that attractive personally. But,
No,
but
I didn't either, but it was just it was fascinating that that's the direction they went,
and
then to see where
right.
he
I was
went.
gonna say, and then his path that he follows after that, he goes on the bike and he starts pedaling and pedaling and pedaling to get his credits built up, and he gets to the point where he finally gets 15 million, so he can go on there himself, and we think he's going to try to get revenge, and he threatens them, and then they make him an offer that he can't refuse.
Which is fantastic. It's a great offer. And he becomes this mega superstar and has his own channel and is in the lap of luxury. And it turns out the lap of luxury is basically just him living alone, drinking orange juice, staring out a window.
Yeah, but at least he doesn't have to be on the bike all day.
Right, exactly. Which is good. And then I hate to move us along here, we're running low on time here, and this next episode is the one I thought we would actually spend the most amount of time on, which might have been, in all honesty, my second favorite episode of the entire series. Of the first season, easily my first episode. It's called The Entire History of You. And basically what it is you get a chip embedded in your neck that allows you to record your life.
Yeah, and the day after I watched this, I kind of sent over an IM over to you at work, and I was like, "Can you really see this happening?" And then I kind of thought to myself, "Well, yeah, I actually can." This is the one thing. This is the one episode out of everything that we've seen so far on Black Mirror that I can actually see society moving in this direction completely. We've gone in the last, I don't know, 10 years from well, let's go 15 years. We've gone from America Online being the norm to MySpace to Facebook to Twitter to Instagram, and then of course there's that other one, Snapchat. Now that's even, that's even with videos and, like quick things, but and then I think there's also something called Vine that's similar to that as well. But yeah.
Vine is more of a comedy.
Oh, is it okay?
Yeah.
But
it's you upload a 5-minute or 30-second comedy clip is basically what
okay.
Vine is.
But basically my point is that we've gone from a private society to being able to communicate America Online with chat rooms and email to then going to MySpace, which I think was very similar to Facebook, where you're kind of sharing all your life with everybody out there on the internet at one time, to going to Twitter, where you're stating your opinions and sharing your life in 140 character bursts, and then to Instagram, where you're sharing pictures of your life to everybody, or videos in those kind of bursts, and then of course Snapchat, where you can cheat without really cheating, and now I don't see there's a big leap from all of that to the chip in your head allowing you to rewind and play your memories over and over again for other people or for yourself in the entire history of you. I think it's a very postmodern take on social media.
Well, yeah, and I agree with you there too. I think this is something that could easily be obtained in our society with technology the way it is now, and I think it's something that I desperately don't want. I am the type of OCD guy who would do like this main character does, and I would rewatch over and over and over again to find that one little problem, and I would obsess about that one little problem until it ruined my life, much like it did his.
Yeah, I think that, and I don't think there's anybody out there that would not do that, if something like that were to happen. Just think about, as fathers, we don't want to think about this, but say that, what if you have a scene like in Pet Sematary, where, you watch your son run across the street and you're just seconds away from grabbing him before he gets, run over by a car. I can't imagine not replaying that over and over and over again in my head. If something like that were to happen.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm the same way. You'd be playing that a billion times, reliving that memory, trying to figure out where you went wrong. And it's like in this episode, the whole justification of it is that the guy was in between jobs. He thought his wife was cheating on him. He replayed a memory over and over again about what he walked in on, which was basically just him and the guy he thought his wife was cheating on in a casual conversation. But he kept overplaying it over and over and over again until it started to mess with his mind. And eventually it turned out that she was cheating on him. But 9 out of 10 times, it's an innocent conversation that would tear relationships apart, because they would end up spending, like me myself in my mind, I would be going over that video a million times, accusing my wife of doing something that I know my wife wouldn't be doing, and it's just, I would love it, because I would love to replay some of the greater moments of my life, but I would hate it because of that OCD factor that I have.
Yeah. The only thing I didn't like about this episode is the ending of it, because I didn't feel that it was necessarily earned or that it necessarily made sense within the context of the story. Because what ends up happening is that well, at the beginning of the story, we find out that one of the people he was at the dinner party with, where he was talking to his wife, he saw his wife talking to her lover, and one of the people at that party had been attacked and had had her chip kind of tore out of her by like a mugger or something. Well, then at the end of the episode, after seeing all this and after his life has been kind of ruined, where he doesn't know for sure that his child is actually his child, and and all this stuff, he decides to cut the chip out of his own head. Where we had actually already seen in the episode previously that you could just erase those memories, that that he could erase those memories without having to see them over and over again, rather than cutting the chip out of his head. And that, to me, kind of negated the power of the end of the episode, is that we knew that there was other options available to him.
Yeah, and I sat there thinking that too, and as much as I thought this was the best episode of the first season, that part there at the end where it was like, okay, you're reliving these memories, so you're gonna just cut it out. Why not just delete it? Why not just delete everything that you saw, so you don't relive it, and you can keep all your good memories? I mean, in your head, you're still going to have those memories, but why bother reliving them as much as you are?
Oh, see, I kind of took it to mean that you were actually like erasing the memories completely. Maybe not. Maybe I wasn't thinking too hard into it. But I guess the other thing is that maybe maybe that's the only way to stop a personality like your obsessive one you were talking about, is to make sure that you don't have access to those, that you're not going to keep doing that no matter what the memory is too.
Well, you're never going to erase the memory in your head. You're just going to replace the recording device. You're going to erase that. You're going to erase the part that makes you see that thing over and over again. In your own, what I got out of it is you're still going to have your memories. You're recording your memories so that you can go ahead and then rewatch that instance, that life event over and over again. But if you were to erase that life event, you still have the thoughts in your head. You just can't physically see.
So it's a
those
file
thoughts.
copy, not a file transfer.
Pretty
Gotcha.
much, yeah. It's the whole season as a whole, I thought, was really good, to be honest with you. I mean, that first episode scared me off, and I remember messaging you saying, "Are you sure we want to watch this?" Because you hadn't watched any of it yet, and I'm just like, "Are you sure? Are you sure we want to stick through this?" And I'm actually glad we did, because not only episode 2 and 3 of season 1, but then when we get into season 2, which we'll talk about at a later time, because we're down to about 30 seconds here. But I thought that this is a must-watch show. I really did. I thought if you can stomach through that first episode and get into 2 and 3, and it's only a 3-episode season, so it's not like you're investing Lost type hours in this. You're investing 3 hours of your life. I think it's well worth it. I think everybody should really watch it and look into it and see what they're missing, because I thought it was really thought provoking. I thought it was well done. I thought without the 5 minutes of pig fucking, the season itself worked really well. And again, I have to say it. I love British television. I absolutely love it.
Well, I think we might end up doing Luther at some point too, which is another British show. But I think if I were to rate the season, I would say probably Entire History of You is clearly my number one. National Anthem would be my number two. The 15 Million Merits would be my number three. I just thought that one was really weird. I did not like it as much as you did, although I did like it. So. And
I'd go the Entire History of You number one. 15 Million Merits number 2, and then the National Anthem number 3, and only because I was so disturbed about fucking, it had me at a loss there.
So what you're saying is you don't have the Porcine channel playing over and over again in your house?
I do not, and I will not be fucking a pig anytime
That's good to
soon.
know. That's all we've got for this week. We are the Realest Guys on the Radio. How you doing?